We'll see the Syracuse offense first. UConn won the toss and deferred to the second half. So Chris Freeman for the Huskies will kick it away to the burner, Malachi James, the Syracuse return man. And James, who runs track for Syracuse, will let it go over for a touchback. The Orange and Steve Angeli will get it at the 25.
You know, it's this offense a year ago was led by Kyle McCord, who was really one of the most prolific passers in all of college football a year ago. Now they bring in Steve Angeli, who I think, Bill, there's some parallels between those two, but the thing that stuck out to me about Angeli, even in that last week one against Tennessee, was the toughness and the ability to be able to throw on the move.
23 completions on 40 attempts. Some scrambles, including a great escape on a 4th down in the 4th quarter of that game against Tennessee. Syracuse opens with play action. Angeli looking to throw. He comes underneath to the running back, Will Nixon, and it's incomplete. Nixon covered by Damon Brinson, senior safety. Jonte Cook coming onto the field for the 2nd down play, and that is a good sign for Syracuse. Their transfer wide receiver was a game-time decision. Didn't play late in that game against Tennessee, but he's good to go today.
Yeah, he transferred from Texas, really one of the top prospects coming out of high school in the 2023 class. He has big play potential.
Angeli to throw again. He comes underneath. Tight end Dan Villari is open for a 1st down and a gain of 17. 5 catches last week for Villari, slotting right into the role that was occupied by Aronde Godson last year.
Nice job by Angeli of working through his progressions, coming underneath. He had his tight end wide open over the middle, making sure you move the chains.
2 seasons ago, Syracuse saw Villari at quarterback, running back, tight end, and more last year behind Godson in the tight end rotation. This year, a primary target. First run for Syracuse is blown up. Ben Smiley, the transfer from Virginia, gets in the backfield and sends Will Nixon down for a loss of 2.
Yeah, Smiley is a player that UConn coaching staff is really excited about. He's able to quickly come looping around, breaks free. This is a UConn defensive line that's going to give up size to Syracuse, Bill, within the trenches, but they are very active. Very rarely do they ever just fire off the ball.
See 3 transfers on that defensive line, and all of them have Power 4 conference pedigree: Virginia, Nebraska, and Arizona State. And 2nd down and 12. Blitz coming. Angeli stands in, fires, and completes it to Darrell Gill. Set up 3rd and manageable. Gill at his best game of his career last year against UConn.
But there you see from Angeli just the ability to stand in there. It brought some pressure. Things started to collapse a little bit around him. He just stayed in there, was able to step in that throw, get the completion, and set up a much more manageable 3rd down. Really the thing that Angeli was very highly touted coming out of high school. Didn't get a lot of reps at Notre Dame. When he did, he made the most of them, and I think he's really just shown great composure here early on in his Syracuse career.
3rd and 5 near midfield. Yassine Willis checks in for the first time next to Angeli. Some confusion in the alignment here for Syracuse as the play clock is ticked down to 3. And the Orange will burn their first timeout. There were a few of those issues in week 1 against Tennessee as well, with a quarterback making his first start for a new team where the Orange had to use timeouts after getting plays in late. So Fran Brown uses his first timeout. 2nd year for Fran Brown with the Orange, and what a first season it was. 10 wins, which tied the longtime Syracuse head coach Paul Pasqualoni for most wins during a first year at Syracuse. There were upsets along the way, including that marquee win over Miami at the end of the year, and they rode Kyle McCord to lead the nation in passing offense.
Yeah, the numbers that he put up last year were almost eye-popping at times, but what he was able to do with this program, those 10 wins, and really a big part of that was there was never a spiral, and that's what's so interesting about today. Every time, those 3 times they did lose, they always bounced back with a win, and I think that's what Syracuse fans want to see today. Can they get that back? Correct the wrong from a week ago, get the ship righted, and get back in the win column.
It's a 3rd and 5 for Syracuse. The Orange need the UConn 48 for a first down. It's a give to Yassine Willis, and he has a huge hole. First down and more into UConn territory to the 35. He gets 18 yards on 3rd and 5.
Yeah, Demarius Washington, the big right tackle, really one of the more experienced guys coming back. Does a great job. You see him on number 1, Smiley, driving him off the ball, gave a soft edge there for Yassine Willis to be able to get there.
Willis took a hit late there, no flag. First down for Syracuse at the 35. Go right back to Will Nixon, and he falls forward for a gain of 2. Vincent Carroll Jackson, another one of those D-line transfers for UConn from Nebraska, makes the tackle.
But just to go back on what you said, he delivered a little bit too.
Yeah. He was slow to get up, but he's right back out there after just missing one snap. Both running backs stay in for Syracuse, Willis and Nixon. We saw this double-barreled look a few times for Syracuse against Tennessee as well.
And Willis could certainly catch out of the backfield, but really that's Nixon's forte. He brings a little bit more of that receiving option.
It's an interesting stack here from the offensive coordinator, Jeff Nixon, and a play-action pass out. Gill's got it again. First down and more down the sideline. Darrell Gill is inside the 15.
Nice little bit of window dressing there from the OC, Jeff Nixon, as you mentioned, drawing the eye with the two backs in the backfield, bringing the action to the right, and then a quick throw from the QB over to Gill, who's really the most experienced guy within this program, coming back, one of 5 receivers a year ago with over 500 yards, the only one from that group to return.
He had 570 receiving yards last year. 185 of them came in Syracuse's win over UConn last season. South Carolina transfer Tyshawn Russell in motion for Syracuse. Angeli throws it underneath, right through the hands of Russell. 185 yards for Darrell Gill last year. It was his first career 100-yard game. Big part of Syracuse's 34-24 win over UConn last year.
Yeah, he certainly he brings the experience. A little bit quiet last week, only 2 receptions for 33 yards. But he has shown what he could do from that really dynamic passing attack a year ago. But that previous play, though, just seemed like lack of focus, almost a little bit of like laziness and just trying to bring that in. That should have been a completion, as kept what's really been a nice opening drive going.
Second down. Willis gets his second carry, tries to lower the shoulder, and he's completely stacked up by a swarm of Husky tacklers. Antonio Harris Jr. was in the middle of it, transferred from New Mexico and plays defensive end.
Yeah, that UConn D-line, they're going to give up size, but they play with good leverage, very active, always a lot of slants, a lot of movement.
One area where Syracuse wasn't as good as they'd like to be last year was scoring touchdowns in the red zone. In the red zone here, it's a 3rd and 9. Can get a first down inside the 10. Needs the UConn 7. Angeli has time. Pumps underneath. Nixon finds it, swivels inside, and gets right down near the sticks. He is just short. 4th and 1. Fran Brown has a penchant for being aggressive in these situations.
I like that call here, being aggressive. It was a nice job there. Again, going through the reads by the quarterback, checking down to find Nixon, at least set him up in this situation of this 4th and short. Could also see potentially here, maybe just try to draw him off.
Willis in at running back. Play clock down to 10. It's a direct snap. And let's see. Looks like Syracuse is short. Willis and Angeli were looking to the sideline. It was snapped to Villari, who was cutting through. And Syracuse is cut down a half a yard short. UConn stands inside the 10. Now the UConn defense bent, but stood tall at the end there on 4th and 2. Not fooled by the trickeration from Villari. And UConn stops Syracuse inside the 10.